like Connie just shared, and thank you for the invitation. I feel like this is a very popular webinar because this is the third time this week that I do it. So hopefully it's nice and fresh for you all. And we're going to have parts of the presentation where I'm going to ask what you're doing to help calm down. So let's see what we're doing here. So these are our objectives for the webinar. We're going to discuss some ways to restore our parasympathetic response. We're going to explore some physical and emotional calming methods, and that's the part where I want you to share what you're doing. And then we're going to participate in some breathing exercises and a guided imagery. So before we start with anything else, I think we should start by doing a breathing exercise, right? So I want everyone, let me see if I can open this up so I can see everybody. There you go. Okay, so I want everybody seated very comfortably. If you're in a chair, well, maybe you're laying down, but hopefully everybody's in some kind of a comfortable chair. Make sure that your feet are planted firmly on the ground and your hands can be either on the side of your chair or on your lap, okay? And the first thing, I think, have you all been working all day today? I'm assuming yes. Yes, I see some nods. Okay, so the first thing I want you all to do, and too bad I can't hear you, but I want you to do one of these sighs, like, I want to see those shoulders. Oh, I see some shoulders. Okay. We need to get that tension and that stress out. We want to be able to do some good breathing exercises. So one more sigh. Very nice. Okay, so now I want you to put one hand on your chest. Oh, and I love when everybody raises their little hands and stuff. Good, I like that, because then I get feedback. Because this is a very strange forum, by the way. I'm so used to dealing with people in front of me. I'm much more dynamic, but now I'm like talking to a little hole in my laptop. So, okay, so everybody, one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. I want you to take a deep breath on your own. Inhale, exhale. Now, the second time around, I want you to do it again, but I want you to notice when you inhale, which hand moves. Is it your chest hand or your belly hand? And when you exhale, which hand moves? So one more try. Inhale, exhale. So I guess we could do the hand thing. So how many of you, when you inhale, your chest hand moves? Okay, couple. Okay, I see you. Okay. All right. And how many of you, when you inhale, your belly hand moves? Okay. All right. So the bellies, you're doing it the right way. So now I'm going to teach you how to actually do what's called a belly breath, which is a natural breath. Sometimes people call it a yoga breath, right? So when we inhale, we should be inhaling through our nose. And that air is going through our nostrils. It's going down the back of our throat, through our esophagus, and it is filling up our belly. So that's why the belly hand should be moving forward. I know, ladies, it's not a pretty sight, but we are in the privacy of our own homes, so we can definitely push that belly out with the breath. And then when we exhale, we are doing the reverse. The air is coming from our belly, back through our chest, and out through our throat and out through our mouth. So the inhale should be through the nose and the exhale should be through the mouth, okay? So we're gonna try some, at any point, if you feel lightheaded, I want you to stop and I want you to breathe naturally and normally like you normally would. At first, because we're doing it and it is somewhat manipulated because I'm instructing you how to do the breath, you might feel a little lightheaded or you might get a little bit of a headache, but believe me, it's just because we're so used to breathing in a very superficial manner that our brain and our body has forgotten what it feels like to receive that oxygen. So we're going to be breathing in all of that peace and tranquility, and we're going to be exhaling any stress, tension, or toxicity, okay? So hands on chest and belly, and we're gonna take a nice inhale through our nose. And then exhale through our mouth. And one last little tip. When you exhale, the tongue should be at the roof of your mouth, so that when you exhale, it should sound something like this. So the air is going through your tongue, through the sides of your tongue, and through between your tongue, and it sounds a little bit of a whistling sound, okay? So let's try that again. Inhale. Two more times. Inhale. Inhale. Okay. So when we're breathing, we're slowing down our heart rate and we're promoting what's called the parasympathetic response. So I'm a true believer. I think sometimes we do all of these relaxation techniques and exercises, and we do a lot of the breathing, but we don't really understand the mechanics behind it, or we don't really understand what's going on with our body. So part of this presentation is to kind of explain something that might be just a gentle reminder for you. And then let me minimize this part here so I can see my slides. Okay, so our autonomic nervous system, this is something that happens, it's involuntary and unconscious. We have it operates on its own. We don't do anything to help it. And as you see in this slide, the autonomic nervous system really controls a lot of different things. The autonomic nervous system has two parts, or two systems, or two modes, and that's what we're going to focus on today. The first one is very familiar to all of us, and this is called the fight or flight. And the fight or flight is something that is a very well-intentioned system, and it's meant to basically help to self-preserve, like self-preservation. So I always give the example of, it's a very ridiculous example, but it's an example nonetheless. And the example is, what happens if a lion escapes from the zoo and is running after you? The sympathetic response system, this is like the system that comes into play automatically, again, with us doing anything. It leaps into action immediately, and right away it activates the adrenal gland. And what the adrenal gland does is that it prepares our body in every way that you can imagine. Our breath quickens to bring more oxygen, our heart beats faster, it brings blood flow to the muscles. Why? Because if a lion is running after us, what are we going to do? We're going to fight and flight. We need that strength, we need to run, our pupils dilate, they get larger, so everything starts preparing our body automatically. Now, the thing is that, yes, how often do you have a lion running after you? But in our daily lives, the threat doesn't have to even be real. It just has to be perceived. If we interpret anything from illness to looming deadlines to just stressors from work or demanding people, anything that we perceive as stress or as a threat, our system automatically responds this way, which is really great if a lion is running after you, but it's not really healthy if you are within this ongoing system, right? So the beauty about the sympathetic system is that it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The problem these days is that we seem to be in this fight or flight system all of the time. And like I said, it could be very harmful. So what we want to promote during these times, of course, everybody's stressed during this time of COVID-19. It's a global pandemic. There's so many things going on from the beginning to now. Now we're reintegrating back into our jobs. People are scared of going back to their jobs. There's fears everywhere, and there's perceived threats everywhere. So promoting the parasympathetic response is something that we want to be doing, not just during a webinar, not once a week, not even once a day, but like throughout the day. And what does the parasympathetic response do? Well, this is the opposite of the sympathetic. This is the one that is called the rest and recovery, and some people call it the relax and digest, or the rest and digest. There's different names for it. And it does exactly that. It does the opposite. Our breathing calms down, again, because we are not fighting a lion, we're not running away from anyone, we're not hiding. So our body, again, now instead of sending the blood flow to the muscles to help us run, now it's sending us to the organs to help us do what? To help us digest, to produce hormones, to replenish those muscles, to repair our cells, all of these things. And again, the more time we spend in this parasympathetic response, the healthier we are. This is this response that actually is when our immune system is the strongest. Why? Because it can detect anything from pathogens to illnesses to different things. And if you're in this mode, then you're much better to fight whatever it is that's going on. The beauty of the parasympathetic response is that it doesn't have to have a beginning, middle, of it, and end. It can be an ongoing mode. So what kinds of things do we do to promote it? Anything from meditation. My all-time favorite, and you're going to see a slide, that's the first thing that I put, is sleep. Me, I'm stressed, I need to take a nap. I have looming deadlines, I have stress, I have 2 adult children. I still call them children even though they're adults. They're calling from graduate school, they're calling from university. I stress out, and the first thing that I need to do is I need to rest. I need to sleep. And when I sleep, I feel so much better to kind of focus and to kind of figure out things and to sort things out. For some people, it's to pray. Prayer helps. For some people, it's to meditate. Some people like getting like their nails done, or some people like to go and get massages. Who doesn't? And these things promote their parasympathetic response. So I guess the question for you, and this is where all of you can unmute yourselves, what do you do to promote this parasympathetic response? What kinds of things do you do to calm yourselves? And Connie, I think we can unmute them now, just for a little bit.
Okay.
Can we?
You may want to have them put up a hand and then have Connie go ahead and open them up, or something to that effect.
Yeah, actually, I think they can unmute themselves, or actually, yep, put up a hand and let me know. Bianca.
Going for a walk and praying, that works for me. Yes.
Okay. I love your name, by the way. That's my daughter's name, Bianca.
Thank you. Is coming in on the chat line too.
Walking is very helpful, any kind of exercise, and we're going to be talking about the difference between calming strategies for your body and calming strategies for your mind. So the one that you mentioned, walking, is for your body, and the prayer is for your mind. So you're doing both, which is wonderful. What other kinds of things do you do? Anybody else? Okay, I see a lot of stuff in the chat box.
Swim, meditate, candles, flowers, walking.
Okay.
Take a walk,
stretching,
watch a movie, yoga.
Yoga.
Bike riding. Oh, yoga. Okay. Anybody into yoga? Raise your hand.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, good. I see people raising their hands. Very good. Gardening. I like that one. Drinking. Okay, not good. Drinking can't actually, can I tell you something? We used to have it on the slides when we used to do these seminars 12 years ago, and then we removed it. But a glass of wine, okay, I said it, a glass of wine actually does promote your parasympathetic response. But because of this or that, we started removing that because I think people were taking it a bit too seriously, and it's just one glass of wine, not a bottle.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, I do wine. Okay, good. So yoga, gardening is also very healthy and very good. It works both the body and the mind. Let's see what else.
Read, walk my dogs, listen to music. That's a good one.
Okay, listen to music. We're going to mention that as well.
Listen
Okay.
to music.
I see a lot of wine here. I see a lot. This is a fun group. This is a fun group. A long shower. Okay, we're going to talk about baths as well. So, I mean, it sounds like all of you are trying something different, or things that maybe, because this is the reason I like to share what everybody's doing, because sometimes I might be doing something, like maybe my thing is sleeping, right? But maybe that doesn't work for you. Maybe you don't like taking naps, or you rather like work through something physically. Maybe you rather like go for a jog, or go to the gym and work out. So for everyone, it's very different. It's a very individual thing, but you have to do whatever calming technique you use. It has to be something that you enjoy, because if you don't enjoy it, you will not do it. It's like when they tell you, oh, go exercise, and you should do this and that or whatever, but then you go and you do it and you don't really like it. So when I tell people to exercise, I make sure to tell them, exercise in whatever form you like. Because let's say that you like swimming, and then I tell you to go to the gym. You're going to go to the gym reluctantly, and you're going to go once or twice, but then you're going to say, no, I don't like this exercise thing. But you love swimming, so go swimming in your pool every day. So for everyone, it's very different. And even within us individually, it might change as well, because maybe I'm stressed about something in particular, and going for a walk might be helpful. But maybe I have another kind of stressor or another kind of threat, and then something else will work for that. So that's why I like to share, because I think we learn from each other. All right, we continue. So we were talking about the different kinds of relaxation, and we're going to start with relaxing the body. As you see, I start with sleeping because I love to sleep, but yoga is mentioned there. One of the things that I think we don't do enough of because we're so busy is actually go outdoors. And I don't know, South Florida is supposed to be like the paradise of outdoors, right? But I don't know, these recent rains and the humidity, and I don't know, I'm pretty much over like the 100-degree weather every day. But actually, there's so many mental health and physical benefits to going outside and getting some fresh air. Starting with people that suffer from any kind of anxiety, that's one of the first things that we recommend. We recommend that if you're struggling with some anxious thoughts, or you're struggling with an anxiety attack or a panic attack, the first thing we suggest is that you step outside of your environment, of whatever environment you're in, whether it's your bed, your home, your office, your cubicle. Go outside for various reasons. One, which I'm going to talk a little bit, is about how trees and plants have these chemicals that are in the air that actually have calming effects for us. And if you want to do a little homework, if you don't know about this, there's something that was started in Japan. It's called forest bathing. It's very popular now. I'm not an expert in that or anything, but I know they opened up parks, and the theory behind it is that trees and plants, again, they have this chemical that goes out into the air, and it's called forest bathing. And people literally during their lunch break or after work or during their breaks go to these parks where they just walk around and just take nice deep breaths. The second thing for being outdoors is, obviously we live in sunny South Florida. The sun actually is very helpful. The vitamin D is very helpful. And then the third thing that I would recommend if you go outdoors is, if you have a little patch of grass, whether it's in your front lawn or your balcony or your backyard, or even if you're in an office where, usually around office buildings, there's some kind of grassy area. I would suggest that if you're having any kind of anxiety, that you go outside, even if it looks weird, take off your shoes and stand on the ground. And that is called grounding. And that's another thing that you might want to look up. They say that the earth also has energy that's coming through the earth, and actually studies have shown that people that actually stand on the ground, not cement, folks, not your pavement or pavers or anything like that, but in grass, on the beach, in the sand, anything that's straight to the ground. also has very calming effects. Not to mention that you're getting some fresh air. For those of you that have tried relaxation techniques, another calming technique for the body specifically is progressive muscle relaxation. Anybody done that? Raise the hand. Some people. Let's see. No, no, okay. Yes, okay, there's a question here about the ocean. Yes, does the sea breeze have calming effects? Absolutely, yes. Okay, nobody's done progressive muscle relaxation. Okay, some people raise their hand. So progressive muscle relaxation is basically a relaxation technique that you can work from your feet all the way up to your head, or from your head all the way down to your feet. It doesn't matter where you start, but it's basically tensing different muscle groups and then relaxing them. So it's a series of tension and relaxation. And what it does is that basically the muscle tense is sending a message to the brain saying this is what, or the brain sending a message to the muscle, this is what your muscle feels when it's tense, and this is what it feels like when it's relaxed. I don't know if this has ever happened to you where you're in the office or you're in front of a laptop or computer. This happens to me all the time. Most of my tension is here because I don't realize while I'm doing this or while I'm doing whatever, and I think the worst are the cell phones. When you're doing this with your shoulders. So you're carrying a lot of tension in your shoulder and neck area, and you don't realize it. The beauty of the relaxation technique, progressive muscle relaxation, is that it makes you tense it and then it makes you relax it so that, again, so that it registers in your brain what is the different sensation. Because, again, the more that we're tense, the less we stop noticing like how our body is actually telling us, hey, we're tense, hey, we're not doing well. We neglect, what our body is actually speaking to us. We neglect it because we've forgotten to notice these things. Again, taking a walk or doing some other kind of fun activity. Again, it has to be fun for you. Getting a massage or having someone give you a back rub. I always use the shower. I love the shower. These are very simple calming techniques, but there's science and there's studies behind all of them of how helpful they can be to calm you down. Fueling your body. And I'll start with make sure that you're drinking enough water. Make sure that you're hydrated. Why? Because a lot of these techniques that we're talking about, including all of the relaxation techniques, if you are not hydrated, if you're not properly hydrated, they do not work, including the guided imagery. I drank a nice glass of water before I started this webinar. We need to have water, and it's just for so many reasons, but even I always say food equals mood, and water also equals mood. Not being hydrated properly has a lot of different effects in our body that cause a lot of stress and tension. Physiologically, fueling our body means making sure that you're eating properly, that you're eating things that are healthy for you, because any food that we eat actually does have an impact in our mood. Any kind of large plates of carbohydrates or greasy or fatty foods, it's not just for the weight, it's really for our health, physically and mentally. All of those things do take very long to process in our bodies, and it does impact our mood. I don't know if this has happened to you where you eat something very heavy and right away you feel sleepy, like you want to take a nap. Your energy is gone. So make sure that, again, you're fueling your body with the right things. That if you're snacking, because we're home, I was just talking about this today. I think I've gained weight while I've been home. Make sure that you're snacking on healthy things and not what I snacked on today, which I will share with you because I am not an expert. Kit Kat. That's what I had for a snack today. Not good, not good. Make sure you have a warm drink. Again, something that doesn't have alcohol. We don't recommend that glass of wine to promote. We don't recommend that you drink a glass of wine before you go to sleep, because it actually does the opposite effect of helping to improve your sleep. Again, Many generations ago, grandmothers used to tell us to drink warm milk. Warm milk actually does have a sedative effect. Any kind of tea that's not caffeinated, but anything warm, it actually helps your body to calm down. Okay. And then, going to the next one, how do we relax the mind? So how did we start the webinar? We started the webinar with taking deep breaths. And again, I want to ask you the question, when you were taking the deep breaths, did you feel like you were kind of slowing down, or did you feel uncomfortable? I guess I'll look at the chat box. Oh, I love this. Okay. Yes, the bowls. Yes, we have the bowls and the bells as well. They're talking about the Tibetan singing bowls. Those sounds are very helpful. Okay. So it did slow a lot of people down when they were breathing. So taking slow, deep breaths. And a lot of people, they mention, especially busy people, and it seems like we're all busy these days, right? I don't have time, Pilar, for these relaxation techniques. I don't have time to be taking these diaphragmatic deep breaths. I don't have time. And I remind everybody, you do, because you're breathing. Whether you like it or not, you're breathing. So instead of like going through life with this shallow breathing that's not healthy for you, you can take a few seconds to just take deep breaths. And again, we can take deep breaths while we're sitting down, while we're laying down, while we're walking, while we're sitting, while we're driving, while we're in the computer, even while we're in a phone call, as long as we're not sighing. We can take these deep breaths. So I would start, if you're saying, yeah, I don't know if I could try these things, I would start with the simplest one. And the simplest one is taking deep breaths. Soaking in a warm bath, and I know that was one of the suggestions, taking a nice warm shower. Listening to soothing music. You would be surprised what a calming effect music has to your body and your mind. Again, if you've ever been in the car and a song came up that reminded you, it transports you to whatever that song reminds you of. Has that ever happened to you? Or am I the only one? You listen to a song and then you're transported to that time, whether it was elementary school or high school or whether it was 2 weeks ago, but it transports you. So make sure that you're listening to soothing music, because that's the key. Because again, what are we trying to do? We're trying to promote that parasympathetic response. Practicing any kind of mindful meditation. Again, for me, the mindful meditation, if mindfulness is about being present, it's about being in the here and the now, not having your mind be in the past. A lot of times that's what we're doing. We're physically here, but our mind might be half listening to what I'm saying, and then it's kind of thinking about what happened maybe yesterday or an hour ago, or the opposite. It's in the future. What do I need to do as soon as I'm done with this webinar? Or what do I need to do tomorrow? And we're so caught up in these extremes that we are not present. And the mindful meditation, what it does is that it forces you to come to the present, because you focus on either an object or you focus again on the breath. If you're focusing on how you're inhaling and how you're exhaling, you might have a thought. You notice the thought, you catch it, and then you bring your attention back to the breath. So something that's very similar to mindful meditation is prayer. Again, for those of you that pray, you might notice the same thing. You start praying, you have this conversation with God, or you're doing your rosary, or you're doing your beads, whatever, regardless of the religion, and your mind starts to wander. And we call that the monkey brain. And what do? We notice, oops, my mind wandered to something. I don't know how it got there, but I'm bringing it back to the prayer or the meditation or the rosary or whatever it is that we're doing. And that in and of itself is like having a muscle memory. Your brain is remembering that the focus and the attention is on the present. And again, there's tons of information on mindful meditation that's out there. There's YouTube videos. I recommend two that I really like. One is Jack Kornfield, and he's an awesome psychologist, but he's also a monk, a Buddhist monk. And It's very secular mindfulness, so it's not religion based at all. So if you're interested, look him up on YouTube. Jack Cornfield, old man, very cute, beautiful, mindful. I was lucky enough to actually meet him in person, but the meditations are really very refreshing and very good. And the second person that I recommend that is also on YouTube and works with him a lot is Kristen Neff. And Kristen Neff does a lot about compassion and loving kindness. So again, all these calming techniques, all these meditations, they all start with who? With us. With us taking care of ourselves, with us protecting ourselves, with us being kind and forgiving and loving with ourselves. Next, writing. So who likes to write? I don't like to write. Okay, I see Claudia raising her hand. Okay, some other people. Let's see, who writes, who has a journal? Let's see, I do. Okay, me, I do. Okay, we have writers here. All right, I do. Okay, so for those of you that like to write, I would say this is a great way also to promote the parasympathetic response. It's very calming. For those of you that don't like to write, but maybe are artists, you like to draw, even if you're not an artist. Somebody mentioned to me earlier this week, those coloring books that people like to, color. I would say have some kind of sketchbook or some kind of journal and just write whatever comes to your mind. If you can't think of anything, I would start with some kind of gratitude journal. Again, this is not like in the old days, like the Dear Diary kind of thing of like pouring your heart out. It's more about like the thoughts that are in there, because once they're in there and they're put into writing, they're kind of coming out. It's a way of venting, it's a way of expressing, it's a way of also calming. So I would say gratitude, wake up every morning and write things that you're grateful for, or before you go to sleep every night, write 2 things that went well, that you're happy with, that you're satisfied with, or that bring you joy, or that help you to calm down. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about before we get into the guided imagery is a visualization. And a visualization is basically, I like to call it your mini vacation happy place. So the visualization is something that you create. It's something that you guide yourself through. Basically, it could be anything. It could be something you created, you made up in your mind, of some place that makes you feel at peace, makes you feel satisfied, quiet. It makes you feel like it slows you down. It could be a memory of some place you've been to. Oh, maybe when I was a kid, I went on a vacation to the mountains, or I went to some beach, and just remembering when I was there. Now, the key to the visualization is not just transporting your mind there, but being able to experience everything that you would if you were physically there. So that would include all of your senses. And the visualization is the close cousin of what we're doing next, which is our guided imagery. So I'm going to just stop for a second because I'm a little bit of a chatterbox, and ask if you guys have any questions or any comments. Can you write the name, please, of the mindful presenter? Oh, the people? Okay, I'm going to write it right now. Jack Cornfield and Kristen. I think this is how you spell her name, Kristen Neff. Okay. The presentation is relaxing. Hey, you ain't said nothing yet. You're going to see it's going to be super relaxing once I take you on this mini vacation called a guided imagery. Any other questions? Okay, I think we're good. All righty. So I'm glad you're enjoying it so far. So the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to go on this guided imagery. And this guided imagery is kind of like it's a relaxation technique, and it's like a guided daydream. So for this, what I'm going to ask is for everyone to get off camera. Sorry, Connie, because it's not enough, because I'm going to get off camera too, because I don't want you to be distracted by me or anybody else. I want you to focus on the picture, and then I want you to just focus on my voice. Okay, and when you're all ready, just raise your hand. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so like I explained, the guided imagery is a relaxation technique, and it is like a guided daydream. It allows you to divert your attention, refocusing your mind away from any kind of symptoms or tensions, and it transports you to another time and place. So as you can see in front of you, there is a road and a tree, and we're going to take a walk in a country road today. So I want you to start by making yourself as comfortable as possible. In this one, you can either sit down, lie down. Make sure you loosen any kind of constricted clothing. If you want to take off your shoes, make sure that your arms are uncrossed, or your legs or your ankles. Again, allowing your body to feel supported by the surface that you're in while you're either sitting or laying down. And then I want you to take one last look at this beautiful picture of the country road, and then I'd like you to gently take a nice deep breath, inhaling and exhaling. And then I'd like you to close your eyes. And if you feel uncomfortable with closing your eyes, you can always gaze downward. And the reason for this is just so that you're not distracted by anything. You are just focusing on the present and on listening to my voice. Again, taking a nice deep breath in through your nose, breathing all the way down to your stomach. Breathing in and breathing out, just like we practiced at the beginning. In through our nose, out through our mouth, relaxing our whole body, allowing our muscles to feel limp and heavy. And while you're sitting there or laying there, I want you to scan your body. Scan to see if you have any muscle tension. Make sure your shoulders are down and that your hands feel relaxed. Again, starting with our head, going all the way down to our toes. Any tension in the face or the neck. Make sure your jaw is nice and slack. Allowing your head to feel heavy on your shoulders. Allowing your shoulders to drop heavily. Again, and all the while we take this walk, I want you to always remember to breathe. Again, your natural breath. I might remind you or guide you throughout to inhale and exhale, but don't forget to breathe. Again, we're allowing our arms and legs to feel heavy. Again, we're sinking to the surface beneath us. And then I want you to imagine yourself walking along an old country road. Feel the sun warm on your back. You hear the birds singing, and the air is calm and fragrant. Making sure to open all your senses to the richness of the environment. And as you continue walking down this road, you come across a gate, and you open it and go through it. And you breathe in and take a look at this beautiful overgrown garden. Flowers are growing where they have seeded themselves, vibrant in color, reds and blues and yellows, and the trees are so green, the vines climbing over a fallen tree, the green grass, even the browns of the shades of the leaves. Again, enjoying all of the colors and the light as it seeps through the trees. Breathing deeply, smelling the fragrance of the flowers, listening to the birds and insects, feeling that gentle breeze warm against your skin. and we take notice of everything. The clouds, the trees, the rocks, the flowers, the leaves, the branches. Breathing it all in and breathing it all out. And as you walk leisurely, you walk up a gentle slope, and behind the garden you come to a wooded area where the trees become denser. The sun is filtered through the trees, through the leaves, and the air feels mild but a bit cooler. You become aware of the sound and fragrance of a nearby brook, and you breathe deeply the cool and fragrant air several times. And with each breath, you feel more refreshed. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you continue to walk, you come upon the brook. It's so clear and clean as it tumbles over the rocks and some fallen logs. And you follow the path along the brook for a way. The path takes you out into the sunlit clearing where you discover a small and picturesque waterfall. Oh, what a lovely place. Find a comfortable place to sit. Sit for a little while, a perfect little niche where you can feel completely relaxed, breathing in the peace and tranquility, and breathing out any leftover or remaining tension, any stress that has come along for the trip. Breathing in and breathing out. And you feel so good, allowing yourself just to sit there, enjoying the warmth, enjoying the sights, and the solitude of this peaceful place. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you feel comfortable in this space, just shake yourself up, stand up, take one last look at the scene before you. Feel the sun on your shoulders, on your back. Smell the air and start walking back. Walking back down through the path, through the cool, fragrant trees, back into the overgrown garden. One last smell of the flowers, and we continue to walk, finding the gate and going out the gate. Leaving this secret retreat for now, but knowing that we can return down the country road at any time. We can visit this special place whenever you want, whenever you feel you need to relax and feel calm. And one last nice deep breath. Inhale and exhale. Breathe in and breathe out. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, can we unmute some people here so that we can hear what they have to say? Let's see. There's a chat. So calm and ready for a nap. I'm with you. Okay, so how many of you were able to stay focused on my voice? And how many of you had some trouble and got distracted and noticed it and then came back? Felt focused? I think I was snoring. I love that one. Good. And by the way, people always ask that. During relaxation techniques as these, if you fall asleep, it's perfectly okay. It means you've really like taken the technique on, you know, you're really into it. The only thing that we say not to fall asleep is in the mindfulness meditation, because that you need to stay focused. But in any relaxation technique, if it makes you sleepy, if you fall asleep, we're good to go with that, because that means that we've done our job. The overgrown garden stressed me out a bit. I wanted to get in there and clean it up. I love it. I love it. Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's funny. Okay, all right. Can I tell you, when I've been a therapist for 27 years, and when I started, and I've been in South Florida for most of my life. I'm initially a New Yorker, but when I started doing the guided imageries, I would do a beach imagery, and you would not realize how many people live in South Florida are actually fearful of the ocean and the water. So I had to change it. So I changed it to the country road. My boss does a mountain, but I think some people are also scared of climbing the mountain. So I try to make it as neutral as possible for people not to have their phobias or fears. So I'm sorry that the overgrown garden stressed you out a little bit, but we got through it, through the path. Okay, so for those of you that get distracted a few times, that's fine. Were you able to notice it and then bring yourself back to the sound of my voice? And then sometimes people visualize what I'm telling them, how I'm guiding them, but then sometimes people just start with the guide and then they just go to their own place, which is fine as well. There's no right or wrong. It's kind of like a win-win. If you're able to follow along for a little bit, if it's able to relax you, you could tell by the sound of my voice, it's very intentional in experiencing all of the senses, but it's also intentional in slowing down your heart rate and slowing down your breathing. Any comments or questions? I hope you enjoyed it. Connie, Claudia, anybody else?
Yeah, that was
great.
awesome.
That was amazing. I wanted to move to where you were taking us.
Yes, I'd like to move there sometimes too.
Yeah.
Do you all feel relaxed?
Yeah.
Very much.
Good, good.
It was awesome.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we need to
Some
do
people are
this a little
saying-
more often, you know, to
Yeah.
get really relaxed.
Some people in the chat were saying to offer more of these.
Yeah.
Yes, I think these days, I mean, we do these a lot at the university for the university community, but I think since all this COVID-19, you know, we've been doing a lot more relaxation techniques and things like that because people are stressed out. And again, it's natural, it's normal. We just have to be very intentional, and we have to be very encouraging of ourselves to do these things and do them regularly. So like I said at the beginning, if you do it once a week, it'll help. It's better than not doing it, but it's not going to do the job. Like, this is something that you have to try to really be intentional about incorporating into your daily routine. Again, and you can start with something very simple: breathing, sleeping. I gave you very easy things that you can try.
What would you say to someone who's trying to do it and gets distracted or isn't able to focus, or is a little all over the place like I am, just thinking about, like, as soon as I relax, I start to think about everything I need to do, and then that goes away? Is it a matter of practicing, or?
It's a matter of practice, because that happens to everybody. That is called the monkey brain. And for those of us that have that we're multitasking, I think it happens, again, gentlemen, I'm not trying to be offensive or anything, but I think it happens more to women. I do. Our mind is constantly on the go. So it's very normal to be distracted to start something. I'll tell you, when I started doing yoga, and I don't do it anymore because of physical problems, but when I started doing yoga, I was in my 30s, and I just, at the end, you know how everybody lays down and everybody's supposed to like have that vinyasa moment or whatever. I just couldn't. My mind would not stop. It was just going till I just kept going regularly. And the thing, same thing with any kind of relaxation technique or even the mindfulness, the more you practice it, the better you get at it. By the end, I was like knocked out. They would say lay down, and as soon as I laid down, it was like I was out. So again, everything is practice. Nobody's an expert in this. It's just practicing and making sure that you allow yourself time to do these things. I mean, we allow ourselves to do all kinds of foolish things. I mean, we're on the phone, we're on social media, we're watching, you know, sometimes good TV, sometimes foolish TV. So we allow ourselves, for people that tell me that they don't have time, I just don't buy it. We have to make the time because this is for our physical and mental health. This is what the equilibrium is, you know? And all of these stressors, they're not just external things, they're internal stressors as well. So in order to balance it out, we need to be able to promote this parasympathetic response. Any other questions?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Any other questions?
Guided meditation, calming mind, takes practice, definitely, yes. I love the comments. Let's see, anything else here? Yeah, during these trying times, it's nice to step back, yeah. And again, you need to try different things because different things is what helps you, you know, like to realize what works for you. Like, I'm not a runner, I don't like going to the gym, you know, that doesn't work for me. But I love walking, I love hiking, I love being outdoors. So that is a very calming effect for me. So you have to find, some people don't like being outdoors. They feel like the outdoors, you know, oh, the mosquitoes, the heat, the this, the that. So if that's your thing, then don't go outdoors, do something else.
Someone is asking if there is a type of food that helps.
Is there a type of, any type of food that helps, like do vegan or for a few? Yes, there are types of foods that do help, that give you energy. Again, greens, nuts, things that have seeds, those kind of things, protein, healthy protein. Carbs, as much as we like them, and I like my pasta, I like it every day almost, and my rice, as much as we like them, those foods, they're good, but the smaller the portion, the better. So there is chips and salsa. I love it. Chips and salsa. You guys are funny. I like that. Magnesium. Yes, magnesium citrate for sleep. So again, I'm not a nutritionist, but I just did something on sleep, and one of the things that I found in my research is that magnesium citrate helps you a lot, but you need to take it at bedtime. Again, making sure that you're taking your supplements. If you don't have a variety of foods or greens that you're eating, making sure that you're taking the supplements that you need, the vitamins that you need. Again, all of this really does have an impact on mood. You would not believe how many people that suffer from depression and anxiety and all kinds of other mood disorders show improvement by exercise and nutrition. Yes, antidepressants are good, they're great. Therapy is wonderful, yes, but it's not a one-stop shop. You know, you have to try a whole bunch of different things in order for you to improve your mood.
Well, that was so awesome. So awesome.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. And again, thank you very much for the invitation.
All right, and we thank everybody for coming and participating. And, you know, this is something we'll try to do more often, where we have, you know, these guided meditations. But it was great. And if you didn't, make sure you type your name in. If you didn't do it already for PDU, I think I typed that in I typed it in the chat. So that way Rocky can give us our PDUs for this session. And Pilar, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
All right.